Now let's talk a little bit about the price and the ramifications of what are going to happen. I talk about Trump's rudeness a lot, which makes it hard when he goes after Acosta for being rude. It makes it a little hard because he's so rude. And people attack me. I see people saying, why can't you be more like, Sean Hannity? Even Knowles is probably more kind to him. Why do you have to get the vapors and clutch your pearls? Well, it's because when listen, I get it, but it's kind of like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. If you've ever seen the film The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, John Wayne is the tough guy with the gun who cleans up the West. But he knows there comes a time when Jimmy Stewart, the lawman, has to civilize the world. At some point, we're going to have to go back to talking to each other. At some point, we're going to have to make this the bipartisan country it was. By bipartisan, I don't mean that we agree. I simply mean that we can disagree without killing each other. And so there's a price that we're going to pay. There's going to a price that we pay for having a guy this rude. Listen, I think it had to be done. I think the thing is, it's just like China. When people say, oh, he shouldn't put tariffs on China, the thing is, we're already in a trade war with China. Trump is just fighting back. And the thing is, we were already in a war of words, of incivility with the press and with Hollywood, and Trump is just fighting back. I understand that. But it doesn't, when you say that women are alienated by him and women in their districts are turning blue districts even bluer, this is part of it, you know this. I mean, if any guy who is married to any girl has had his wife say to him at some point, it's not what you're saying, it's the way you say it, right? Every guy that, when I said that, was rolling his eyes. Yes, I've heard that. I know that. And you're saying, what difference does it make the way I say it? Listen to what I'm saying. Women are affected by this. We lose women because he is not civil. And so what is the result? What is the result of this? What is going to happen? First, Nancy Pelosi is out there making bipartisan sounds. Let's hear a little of Nancy Pelosi celebrating her victory. And by the way, Trump has been really kind to her, saying she deserves some respect. She's fought very hard for this victory. If they try to take her lead, he wants her in the leadership, clearly. Listen to what she said.
A Democratic Congress will work for solutions that bring us together because we have all had enough of division. The American people want peace. They want results. They want us to work for positive results for their lives. Our founders believed in a principle that they knew must guide our nation. First, in our Declaration, they promised life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But they gave us guidance, e pluribus unum, from any one. The founders could never have imagined how vast our country would become, how many we would be, how different we would be from each other. But they knew we had to be one.
So that's the noise that Nancy Pelosi is making. The New York Times as well is making this. Don't go for impeachment yet. Don't go for impeachment yet. Don't start. And what Trump said to them is, look, you investigate me. I've got the Senate. We've got committees too. We will investigate you. So that's the challenge he threw down to Nancy Pelosi. She's basically saying, if we do this, if we jam up the government, we're going to pay a price at the polls. She's trying to be civilized. And there are things they can work at. Infrastructure is going to be interesting because the question is not whether we need infrastructure. We clearly do. The question is how you pay for it. And what Trump has an idea, or at least he started out with an idea about, incentivizing private companies to do infrastructure. That, of course, is the best way to go forward. You don't want just when government just pours money into this thing. We had that from Obama, those shovel-ready jobs. The money just disappears. It just goes away. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So if they follow Trump's ideas, I think they could really do something in infrastructure. I'm a little bit more worried when they talk about bringing down the price of prescription drugs. The way you bring down the price of prescription drugs is not by price controls, because that is just going to mean less R&D, fewer drugs down the line. And people won't know that. You will not know that when you get to be old and someone tells you has Alzheimer's, there could have been a pill there to help you, but that pill won't be there. So you got to be careful of the way you control. You shouldn't control prices. You got to be careful of the way you open that up to more competition to do it. But are they going to go this way? I believe they're not. I know a lot of you probably believe they're not. I think you're right. Here's why. Let's listen to Adam Schiff, the Joseph McCarthy of the present day, my congressman, Adam Schiff, and the reporter on MSNBC asking him, who are you going to investigate? Are you going to investigate DJ Jr.? Who is he going to start with? And his response.
Miller, who covers national security for the Washington Post, tweeted tonight that you, as the new chairman of the House Intel Committee, will bring back Trump Jr. You'll bring back perhaps Roger Stone or Paul Manafort, other witnesses. Do you have a list? Do you know what you're going to do as the chairman? And are you able to tell us who you want to bring back?
I'm not able to tell you that tonight. We're certainly going to look at the work that we were able to do. We're going to look at the work that the GOP obstructed on our committee. And it was really worse than abdicating the responsibility of the committee. The majority went further to be complicit in the president's attacks on the independence of the Justice Department, on the men and women of the FBI, on our intelligence community. So we also need to restore the relationship between our committee and the intelligence community and law enforcement. But look, at the time when we formally take control of the House, that won't be until January. And we'll have to see what Bob Mueller has been able to do and what Bob Mueller has been able to say, either via indictment or via report. And that will also guide what we intend to do in our committee.
Okay, so the question is, and Trump was asked at the press conference, can you do both? Can you both have investigations but also work together? And Trump said, no. Once you start investigating me, I'm going to start investigating you, and that's what we're going to do. So who's going to win? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be Adam Schiff who wins and not Nancy Pelosi. It's going to be the investigation impeachment gang. Why? I will show you a clip that will explain why. Here's billionaire Tom Steyer, who is one of the big supporters of the Democrat Party and represents the donor class and the base that are egging them on. He's sending the money, he's bringing the dough, and this is what he says.
This is a president who is breaking all of the norms, all of the laws on a daily basis. When you watch what he's done at the end of this campaign, when you see the ad he ran, when you see him saying to law enforcement officials, you should go to the polls to prevent completely fictitious voter fraud, but actually to intimidate voters. This is someone who's breaking his oath to the American people, his oath to the Constitution, and those are high crimes and misdemeanors, and it is urgent to get him out.
So listen, there are going to be people who tell you that if they investigate and if they try to impeach him, it's going to be good for Trump in 2020. There are going to be people who tell you that if there's bipartisanship, that's going to be good or it's going to be bad. People are going to tell you, oh, the numbers are telling me what's going to happen in 2020. I don't report on the future here because I don't know what the future is, because it's the future. It hasn't happened yet. There are going to be events. Listen, this is the Trump era. All kinds of things are going to happen. Ruth Bader Ginsburg could keel over. There could be shooting. We don't know what is going to happen, and all of that is going to have an effect. I do not know the future. I'm telling you that right now, we on the right have scored a major, major cultural victory. We have beaten back this blue wave, and our reaction to Kavanaugh has been verified and legitimized by the American voter. This is an amazing thing. This is an amazing thing. It hasn't happened in a long time, not since Reagan. It really hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan, that an American president has turned back this tide of anger, and that tide has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what? Trump built his wall. He built a wall that held back this tide yesterday. It's an amazing victory. He is the man who shot Liberty Valance, and Liberty Valance is our corrupt press, it's Hollywood, and the Academy. We should be celebrating.